Okay, I'm going to make a video. This is a 2003 Elantra regular 4-cylinder. I'm starting off with this view down into the spark plug hole with the plug removed that I took out because I'm going to put the plugs in, and I'm not going to come back to this. So now we're going to show some other stuff. So there's the one. There's three that I've already done, and I decided to go ahead and make this video because there's so many different little tools and things to get these stuck rubber boots off. All right, so these things, that one's fairly much intact. Okay, they were stuck down in there. This one is more butchered, shredded. I tried different ways to get it out. This one came out pretty much intact. And this one, this is what it looks like, how it's supposed to come out. What happened is it pulled loose from the boot, which is there. But you can see what I did is I put some Gorilla Glue on there, some super Gorilla Glue, and stuck the thing back down in it. And this one came out. The other three did not, which just kind of shows you how badly they were stuck down there. Even with Gorilla Glue, I left it in for like 3 days. It did not, it just still, the sleeve still pulled out, because this is what they look like when they pull out. You can see that center thing, you can see the glue on there. So this part still pulled out. All right, then what I did, I'm going to show you what I did. And I'm going to have to cut away and come back here in a second, but I made this thing. Okay, this is just a piece of copper tubing that I had. I'm not sure what the exact diameter is. What I did is I flared it out at the end, and I kind of sharpened the edges a little bit to make it be like a shredding type cutter. All right, and it just happens to fit right over the spark plug shaft where those things are stuck at, which is here. So you can see it fits right over the shaft. So that's how it worked. It fit right over the shaft and just kind of shredded everything around it enough. Maybe, probably something with a little bit bigger flare, but there's just not much room in there. I mean, there's just not much room in there. I'll measure this here later, this tubing, and show you. And what I did is I couldn't put it in the drill because it's a 3/8 drill. So what I did is I'll show you what I did later, okay? Just in a little bit, all right. Okay, so these are some of the things that you need. So this is a little pen light. You need something like that to look down in the hole. This thing I'm going to talk more about later is this is 1/2-inch copper pipe. And yeah, I talk in another section about how I crushed it in the vise so that I could put a thing in it and use the drill on it. Now what I wanted to show here is these spark plugs. So here's one. It shows that's the rubber piece that was left. So this thing, you can see this. That's where it went down to there, and it chopped that rubber thing off there, and that stayed on there. That just shows you how much of this rubber was stuck onto the porcelain, and it's like there's no way that was going to come off. Sort of extreme brute force, or basically cutting it off like I did with this. I think this is really a good way to do that. Some kind of thing that goes down there over the plug and rips it apart. Then it'll come out. And you can see here on these plugs. See the rubber that was left on there after I ripped it. That one here too. It was stuck. That's what was stuck down in there. So yeah, that's why I think the little tool of grabbing it and pulling probably was wishful thinking. I think you have to rip it off. You have to somehow, and this tool, you can see, how it went right down to it, right snug down to it, and then tore that rubber apart. And because this didn't stop me from getting the plug out, because the wrench was able to go right over that last part. It was all the rest of it up here that was in the way. So if you rip it off, if you rip it apart right there, your plug wrench will go down, and you can get the plug out. Which, yeah, I mean, changing spark plugs should not be this difficult. Okay, just to review. So in interest of completeness, I'm going to show a couple of other things that I had used, like this wire here. Yeah, I had used this. It's just a gardening thing that it's a spike, and I flattened it out with a hammer, made a little hook on it. I had used that before I came up with the idea of this, which is the shredder. This is a 1/2 inch. This is a 1/2 inch copper tubing. Okay, you can see I flared out the end a little bit, kind of sharpened it down. And how I put it in the drill is I use this drill thing here. Okay, so this is normally used for, you know, like bits, sockets, and things like that that you can put different things in there. And this end goes into the drill because this is too big. This 1/2 inch, I don't have, my drill's 3/8. So what I did is I went ahead and put this in here. First, what I did is I crimped this in the vise. I do have a vise, so I'm not going to show you the vise. So I crimped this because the thing would have been loose in there, and I need it to turn. So what I did is I crimped the end here in the vise so that I had to hammer in the drill adapter. So I'm not going to hammer it in now, but I'll show you. No, I had hammered in so that it would be tight, and that worked. Okay, that worked. The other thing that I did already have, this I got from Harbor Freight. These pliers here, they really were too big to begin with. What I did, I took and I sanded them down to make them be thinner in the end, which it really still was a work in progress. If I had needed to, I could have sanded them down skinnier, because I don't really need these for any other things. But that's what I did grab a couple of pieces of the rubber boot that had ripped apart before when I had used this thing and had kind of torn it up. That was the torn up one there. So that one had been torn up, and I did grab it. These other two came out intact after I drilled them. They came out with the drill bit, I think, and this is what one of them came out just after I had E600 it, or whatever, 6000 or whatever, glued it in there. This one actually came out. I pulled the wire out of it. You can see the wire there. I pulled the wire out, and then what I did is I twisted it back and forth and twisted it around and it came out with the boot. So hey, if you can get that, if you're lucky to do that, you're good. The problem is when that doesn't happen, when these things stay in there. Unfortunately, these things are different configurations. Like the new spark plug wires I put in there have a different configuration. They don't look like this, so you don't really know what you've got in there probably, unless you put them in yourself and you can remember. But yeah, I tore this up with the with this, and the stuff came out. So thanks be to God. All right, that's it. All right. Hopefully that would help someone.